morning, everyone, and good afternoon to our colleagues who are joining us from Germany. I'd like to welcome you all to today's Study in Germany event for English speakers. My name is Erin Hart. I'm the Director of Communications and Development at the Germanic-American Institute. For those of you who do not know the Germanic-American Institute or who are joining us for the first time, the GAI is a nonprofit cultural institute located in St. Paul, Minnesota. I'd encourage you all to look at our website. Thank you, my colleague, for posting that in the chat, gaimn.org. We have a wide variety of cultural programs, language classes, summer camps, and resources, including about study in Germany. I don't want to take up too much time because we have quite a full agenda, so I'll just do a few technical notes. We're going to keep our microphones muted during the presentations, and you can adjust your view settings to your comfort level. I'm sure everyone is a Zoom expert after 19 or 20 months of doing everything online. And we will have or try to make some time for questions and answers after each presentation. I'd like folks to ask their questions via the chat function, and I will go ahead and flag those for our presenters. So with that, I would like to introduce our first speaker coming to us from Halle. This is Klaus Schmerler from Martin Luther University in Halle-Wittenberg. Thank you so much, Klaus, for joining us, and turn the microphone over to you.
Thanks, Erin. Good morning, everyone, from me as well. Welcome. Good morning from Germany. It's my pleasure to be here today and to kick off this session on study programs in Germany. What I'd like to do is just briefly give you a bit of an overview of our university and our one specific study program that I believe will be of interest to you. And then I'd like to allow for some questions, and so I'll leave some time, which means you're going to have to listen to me for about 10-15 minutes, and then I'll be happy to take your questions. So I am from the Martin Luther University in Halle-Wittenberg, and more specifically from the School of Business and Economics. Just to briefly introduce myself, Klaus Schmerler is my name. I am the program coordinator at the university and at our school of our international and German programs. I'm also a lecturer. I do some of my teaching in the English speaking programs, and this is the contact information which I will believe will be provided to you later if you have any questions about what I'm going to say. Just at a glance, MLU is one of the older universities in Germany. It's quite large with about 22,000 students. We have 9 faculties that are divided in numerous schools, such as the School of Economics and Business, and also chemistry, natural sciences, social sciences, and so on. The university itself is located in Halle, right in the center of Germany, basically in the heart of Germany, and it's on the riverbanks of the Saale River. So it's a beautiful town of about 200,000 inhabitants. We are just an hour south of the capital of Berlin and only 20 minutes away from Leipzig, which has about 500,000. So it's right in the middle. It's a great place to visit other places in Germany and specifically to study. Now the program that I want to focus on and the school and specifically is the School of Economics and Business, and it's the largest faculty at our university. We have about 3,000 students enrolled in our programs and numerous chairs. A chair is basically a professor with his or her staff. So 13 economics chairs, 9 business chairs, information management. It's all right there. And if you have any questions or want to see any more details about the faculty as such, this is the link where you can find it. What I'd like to focus on today is our study programs, and specifically the first one on the list. We have 3 English-speaking programs at our school, and at the undergraduate level, there's business economics, which is a program that's been around since 2003 already. It's been very successful for almost 20 years, and that's the one that's that aims at high school graduates. We also have another English-speaking batches coming up next year, engineering and management, with a focus on chemistry, actually, chemical sciences and management, and then numerous German-speaking programs. Of course, I'll be happy to answer questions about them as well, but for today, I would like to focus on business economics. So what's business economics? Business economics is our undergraduate program in which we enroll both international and German students. It's an accredited program, a 3-year bachelor's in Germany, with English as the only language of instruction. You don't need to bring any previous knowledge of German. It's nice if you do, of course, which helps you to move around in Germany, but the German language classes are actually part of the curriculum. So if you don't bring any German, you will be taking German classes here, and it will take you to a fairly high level, which will then later on allow you to either continue with master's programs in English or in German, take on a job in Germany, whatever it may be. It's a very specific program. It's very different from all the typical German programs, which are fairly large at universities. In this program, we only enroll about 40 students per year on purpose. So we have relatively small class sizes. We have a very multicultural community. About 50% of those are Germans. The other 50% are from all over the world. There's not really a focus region. That region sort of shifts every year. So they're really essentially from everywhere, students in this program. I'd like to give you just a brief overview of the program structure, and at the very end of my 10 slides, I have a more detailed overview if you're interested in that. But just to give you some idea of what a business economics program might look like, it's a 3-year program, so there's 6 semesters, and what you'd study throughout such a program is business management, business studies classes, anything from marketing to accounting, production, logistics, you name it. And then there's economics as the second component. There's a good amount of language classes that you will be taking. With your background, you'd be looking at German language classes. And finally, as any program in this field, there will be some quantitative methods, a bit of, you can't really make your way around numbers in any business economics program. So that's in there as well. And that's what will keep you busy for the first 2 years. And your last year, you can specialize by electives. You can choose from a broad range of electives at our very large school. You can choose only English electives if you like. If you have brushed up your German to a level that allows you to take German electives, be our guest, you can do that as well. So there's really a lot for you to choose from when it comes to your specialization. You also have to complete an internship as part of your studies. And finally, you will graduate with a bachelor thesis. So that's what the business economics program looks like in general. What do our graduates from this program do? They pursue a broad range of careers, really. It's hard to pin anything down specifically. I try to give you some examples here on this slide. Some of our graduates, they pursue master's programs worldwide. You can pursue your master's at MLU if you want to. We have, as I've shown earlier, a master's in economics, and data science, which is quite popular in English, but we also have a range of German master's programs, but students go essentially anywhere. Finally, next on the list, our students, of course, just go on and work after they graduate. Here, just some examples of the companies that are located in and around Halle, where we place our graduates, but they also move to different cities in Germany. Some start up their own businesses, some join consulting firms, others go on and work for the government, public agencies. We actually have what's called IWH down here. It's one of the leading economic research institutes that's located in Halle, which is not just nice to continue your career after your studies, but also a great place to find a student job potentially. So a lot of opportunities, and that's how the business economics program is designed in general. It's designed to maximize your opportunity set, to give you as many options to pursue afterwards and to specialize in various directions throughout your studies. That sounds too good to be true, I suppose, but of course there are costs involved, but they're not too high, I would say. Well, we are a public university in Germany, so there are no tuition fees in general for any studies at our university. As any other university in Germany, we do have to charge a small administrative fee, which is currently about 250 euros per semester, so 6 months. And that already includes the public transport. not just in Halle, but in the greater area. So it allows students to commute, to go back and forth to Leipzig, which is the, as I mentioned earlier, the next larger city, 20 minutes away. And that's all included in that administrative fee already. As for your cost of living, you are looking at, well, nowadays we say around 750 euros. 600 used to be enough, somewhere in that range, from 600 to 750 euros, depending on where you'd like to stay. If you want to stay at dormitories, which we offer, if you want your single apartment, shared accommodation, that sort of determines your cost of living, but we're in the range of about 600 to 700 euros, including food, including health insurance. We often get questions about financial support, which is a reasonable question for a US background. Since there are no tuition fees in Germany, we don't have such a very broad scholarship system at the undergraduate level. There are some small scholarships that our university offers, that other institutions offer, but it's not enough in general to cover all your costs of living. They are available, however, but they should be considered more of a bonus. What we do have, however, is we have jobs as research assistants that we offer to good students. Also, the Economics Institute, located right next door, offers a number of jobs, and there are plenty of jobs available outside MLU in Halle. Halle is, as I said it earlier, Halle is it's a blossoming student town, and there are lots of opportunities to enjoy yourself and to work. So if you want to do that on the side, that's definitely an option. Finally, I'd like to say a few words about the admission requirements, because that is probably something that's of concern to many of you. So what do you need to bring to study in Germany in general? Well, to study in our program, which is an English-speaking program, I said earlier that you don't need to bring any previous knowledge of German. It's nice to have, but it's not required. What you do need to bring, what any applicant needs to bring, is a proficiency in English. But with the US background, again, that's a check mark right away. There's nothing for you to be concerned about. The key point is the second one on the list. You need to qualify for higher education in Germany if you want to join any university in Germany, not just MLU. And that qualification depends on two things, essentially. It depends on the mix of high school classes that you took and on placement tests that you might have taken. I'm not going to go into all the details. I can answer that specific questions later if you're interested, but basically it means throughout your high school, you should have taken some reasonable composition of classes, as in you should have taken some math classes of a certain level at least, or you should have taken at least 2 foreign language classes and some social science classes and some natural science classes. So there's a bit of a catalog that of requirements that you need to meet, and if you meet them, you, in the best case, have direct access to higher education in Germany. I put a link to a database on the slide, and as I understand, these slides will be available to you later, so you can just follow the link. In that database, you find specifically the requirements of which classes you might need to be eligible to study in Germany. It's not the requirements are not super high, and they're pretty easy to plan for if you're still in high school. If you're about to graduate from high school, that might be more difficult to meet these requirements. But if you're still in your sophomore, junior, that's easy to accommodate. So there are basically 2 outcomes for your higher education qualification. Either you have direct access and you can join our program straight away, or you have indirect access in Germany, which means you'd actually have to go to prep school for a year to then be eligible to study at a German university. These are the 2 possible outcomes. So it's your proficiency in English. That's not a problem. In the end, for you, what it boils down to is really just your higher education qualification. So what you've done in high school basically determines, or the classes you've taken determine whether or not you can join our program straight away or not. If you have any questions about that, as I said, the link to the database is there, and you can also just contact me, and we'll figure it out together. Finally, I just thought I'd point that out. We don't require any previous work experience or any international experience, but if you bring any, such as internships or any work that you've done on the side, we do consider that throughout the application process. So that's what it what's needed to join the program. And at this point, I'd like to already wrap it up actually and give some time for questions. I do have our specific curriculum on the final slide if you're interested. But as I said, these slides will go online anyway, so then you can take a closer look at it if you like, or just ask me about it. Thanks for your attention. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
If you'll allow me, Klaus, I'd like to ask you a question. What is the timing for registration? Like, do you accept students in the fall and the winter, or when do you accept applications?
That's a great question. Well, we accept applications throughout the year, but we enroll first semester students only in the winter. So the program starts in October, which means by mid-July, you should have completed your application.
Excellent. And we have one question in the chat. Diane's asking, can you speak about the engineering program?
Yes, I'd be happy to. Well, it's still in the planning process. It's going to launch next year. It's a program that focuses actually on chemical engineering, since we have a very large industrial chemical engineering with a lot of history just south of Halle. And that's a cooperative program with another University of Applied Sciences this time. They do the chemical engineering part, and we contribute the management part from our business economics program. But there, the focus is really chemical engineering. So 80%, 75% is natural sciences, and you becoming an engineer. And then we ship in the management and business part. Does that answer your question, or?
So do we have any other questions from the group? How many students apply each year to your business economics program?
Well, we've been around for quite some time, so we have a fairly large number of applicants. I'd say about, well, 200 for 40 slots. But what we do, what we have is we have separate slots for international students. So there's one group, there's 50% that goes to German students and students from the European Union. And then there's 50% of the slots only for international students outside the European Union. So that really increases your chances if you apply from the US, for example.
Have language placement class for students who have taken German in high school?
Language placement class. Well, we don't run a placement test, but essentially the students that enroll in our program, they see our German teachers, and they will then place them according to their previous knowledge in the course that's appropriate for them. And from there, we'll take them to the highest level that we can offer at our language center, which is typically C1. And then once students are done with that, they can move on to other languages if they like to.
Thank you. Any other questions for Klaus today? Oh, here's one. This is getting perhaps a little technical. Let me read the question here. Does a student who has dual citizenship and went to high school in the United States count as a German or international student?
Citizenship doesn't matter for the status. It matters where you complete your high school degree. So if you graduate from high school in the US, then you're an international applicant. And as for the second question in the chat, there are no age requirements. No, we don't limit our applicants to a certain age range. You just want me to keep answering the questions as they pour in?
Yeah, I think you're doing great here. It's not flying in, so yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So what's student housing like in MLU? Well, we have numerous dormitories located in really nice regions, some by the river. So what you can do is you can apply for a dormitory, and you will then receive an offer for different rooms. They have single rooms, they have shared rooms. Just depends on your preferences there, and that's really quite affordable. Generally, however, accommodation in Halle is affordable. We are not Munich or Berlin, so you don't charge crazy rents here as you might read in the press. So it's also possible to find private accommodation, shared accommodation with other students, but the dormitories definitely have a lot of options as well. So what else do we have? To have connection to host families for international students. Host families for international students. I mean, host families where you would stay for 3 years for the entire duration of your studies. We don't really have that, not for the entire duration at least. Yes, bei Dormitory Studentenwohnheim, exactly. Oh, a connection to a local family. No, we don't have that at the moment. What we do have is buddy programs. So we have buddy programs for German students and international students. That's something that our international office runs. But there's no connection to any host families at the moment. It's a good idea though. I'll take that with me.
There was a question when you say dormitory, do you mean Studentenwohnheim? Or?
Exactly, that's
okay.
what it is.
Okay, excellent. Great. Let's see. Okay, any other questions for Klaus? So yeah, I'll just like to mention again for those of you who have joined us after we started, we are recording the session. And so we will share the link to the recording after our session today. We will also be sharing the presentation files with you all. So you can take good notes, but we'll also share contact information and the slides. There's a question here. What other study focuses do you have?
If you mean at the university?
Yeah, that's kind of...
That's essentially everything. We have 9 faculties, and one of these faculties, they're divided in schools, and one school might be the School of Chemistry, a School of Physics, School of Mathematics, and they all have the entire range of programs. So there's essentially everything there. You can also study medicine at MLU, so there's a medical faculty. There's a broad range.
Excellent. Good. Well, if there are no other questions for Klaus, then I think I'll let us be 2 minutes ahead of schedule since we started a little early. And we'll go ahead and take a minute to get our next presenter set up. Well, Klaus, thank you so much. That was extremely informative and it looks like a really excellent program. And now I'd like to welcome Dr. Dina Dreisbach and Dr. Valerie Wulfhorst, who are joining us from Fachhochschule Fachhochschule Südwestfalen.
Thank you so much, Erin, for inviting and for having us, and guten Morgen from Soest. So we'll start right away, and we will introduce 2 programs. The focus will be on the bachelor program, and later on my colleague Valerie Wulfhorst will present the master program. So first of all, brief self-introduction. I'm the course director of the BBA. We call it BBA. That's the Bachelor of Business Administration with Informatics. You can find my contact data here, and please do not hesitate also to contact me directly in case of questions. And this is my colleague Valerie Wulfhorst, who will shortly introduce herself in a minute, and I put a timer on, so I make sure that she has a couple of minutes as well after introducing the bachelor program. So as the previous speaker did, I want to briefly introduce the South Westphalia University of Applied Sciences as a start, and then the focus will be on the bachelor degree program, a short introduction of the consecutive master, and then we'll have the Q&A section. All right, so Klaus just mentioned the University Halle is located at the heart of Germany. I would say the same about Soest, so we can discuss where the heart of Germany is. So basically, we are located in the west of Germany. It's a quite densely populated region with more than 8 million inhabitants, and we have 5 campuses. The one we are on is in Soest. We believe, at least my colleague Valerie and me, it's the most beautiful one, and I think we are not the only ones who believe that. So it is located in an important industrial region in Germany. We have more than 150 world market leaders in industry around. even though Soest itself is quite cozy and calm and peaceful, and there's a lot of green, it's very close to the Ruhr metropolitan area. And there we also have a lot of options in any means, I mean, cultural options and so on. I'll show a couple of pictures in a minute. So yeah, I think the advantages Klaus already presented apply to us as well. We have no tuition fees, still a very good quality. Public universities in Germany have a very good reputation. Our University of Applied Sciences has approximately 12,400 students, but we are a little smaller in that respect, since these 12,400 spread among the 5 campuses. On our campus, they are around about 2,400 at the moment. So it's a rather family atmosphere. And I'm going to show a bit like what our little global community looks like. Good. So here you can see a couple of pictures from Soest. The one on top is the Kirmes, which is just running this weekend. We have approximately 60,000 inhabitants in Soest. It is actually a very cozy, very nice, yeah, it's just a great study atmosphere here, because we have these historical half-timbered houses, which you can see on the picture. I'd say in positive sense, it's a typically German town. But since we are running our international program since more than a decade already, the Soest citizens have become quite open-minded, and they really welcome the international students. They regard it as a source of inspiration. And I think the international students play a special role for us here in Soest. So here you can see a couple of pictures from our campus. You can also see it behind me here. That is also on campus. So it's quite a nice campus atmosphere. It's attractive in the heart of the historical city. Still, it has very modern facilities. And our location in Soest has the most the highest number of international students in our university. So we are specialized on that. We live this with passion, and we always call it our little global community. We have really this family atmosphere. We provide a high service level to the students, and yeah, we try to make them feel comfortable, and yeah, partially also replace their home, especially in the bachelor study course. I mean, many students are still quite young when they come to us. They are far away from home. Not everyone can travel home like every couple of months. So we really feel responsible for our students. We have really 100% service from really enrollment up to BBA administration office, to student mentorship programs. We have accommodation support. And yeah, it's not this anonymous, like big university style. It's really more a family atmosphere. So which programs do we have? Focusing on the ones entirely being taught in English language, we have 4 programs on our campus. The business administration one, which you can see on top, the IMIS program, that is the International Management Information Systems one, which Valerie will present in a minute. And we have another master, which is Systems Engineering and Engineering Management, as well as an online program on international management and information systems. So this is for those people who are already full-time in a professional job. So the program I want to talk about in more detail now is the BBA. It's a full-time course, starts in winter semester in October. It has 7 semesters. I mean, you can be a little quicker if you like, but on average 7 semesters. And the contribution fees are administrative fees only, including a semester ticket for public transportation of 290 euros per semester. Who are the target, well, who's the target group? People who are interested in business, but in combination with applied information technology. And we have really a 100% international study environment. So I'd say it's actually a great mixture, and that's what our students appreciate a lot. between, on the one hand, being in this typical German setting, like this, you know, traditional town and really typically German people around and all the German companies and so on. And on the other hand, our global community on campus. And I must say, this is also what still inspires me, even after more than a decade of working here, that this mixture is really, it's really great. We have a high employability. This has various reasons, but I think the applied IT part plays a role. So we are not really informatics in the very technical sense, it's applied IT, but this combination of business and informatics is really highly demanded. And there's also high acceptance in the labor markets already for international students. It's nice if you can speak some German, but it's not really necessary in many companies anymore. So there are quite a lot of options also for internships and jobs. So what we emphasize on is also the development of personal and communication and intercultural skills. So we have really in our curriculum modules which focus entirely really on the development of your personal skills. English language skills are maybe not of such big interest for you, but we require already a quite high English language level also from our other non-native international students. So that is an aspect, and intercultural communication plays a big role. Here you can see a picture from our last graduation ceremony. That was the one before Corona, and we hope to have one again in spring. So here you can see some ranking results. I just put the last one. So we can proudly say by tradition already, we are in really the top group of the business with informatics program in Germany. And yeah, of course, we are happy about this great feedback, which is basically coming from our students. And that's maybe one reason more to choose us. Anyway, here are some more impressions of teaching and entertaining activities. As we told, we are not seeing ourselves only as the providers of high quality teaching, but we also organize a lot of social events. So we have an intercultural Christmas ceremony, for instance. We have job application trainings we organize. We have conferences, both on campus and off campus. We have barbecues in the summer. So for us, it's really important that we have a good team spirit. And you can see some pictures here from events before Corona occurred. During Corona, we were, of course, also limited to online events. This is our curriculum, just to get a first idea. So you will find some standard business modules. You will find some applied IT modules. There's quite some space also for building your own focus. I don't want to discuss that in very much detail. If detailed questions come up, we can still follow up on that just to give a first impression what it looks like and what to expect. And we have quite a big range of electives. So here you can see we built focuses both in the business administration field as well as in the IT field. And just to give you a couple of keywords, what we are offering, what you can choose from for both the business and IT focus. Okay, so in a nutshell, why should one consider to come to Soest and study with us? We put a lot of emphasis on a close collaboration between lecturers. We have an open door policy. We give a lot of personal attention. We have also rather small group sizes. So one batch is usually in total about 100, 110 students, and they are split up into 4 to 5 groups. It depends on the exact number. And this is basically the class size, a little like at school. So we have a lot of tutoring, we have a lot of seminars, and yeah, this ensures that also this intercultural collaboration works. So we really also put an emphasis on mixing the nationalities. We have currently more than 60 nationalities on campus, so there is not really one area of special focus. We have really people from everywhere. And it's of course entirely taught in English, but what is maybe special is it's not only entirely taught in English, there is really the whole administrational setting around also available in English. So really from admission process to enrollment for thesis projects. So everything which is needed around, and this has been growing in more than a decade, it's all entirely available in English. So there's no need to feel strange if you are not a native German. Good. So I think what is of interest for you is which options are there to improve your German. I mean, the options are, of course, outside university, everywhere in your daily life. But besides that, we offer also German courses on campus. We have online courses, which are flexibly usable for free. That's called Speaks. It's an online course for different levels. So you can start individually on the level which you bring. We have also on-campus German courses also for free. And both options are there. But this is used actually a lot by our students because most want to work in German companies, want to get some experience in internships and so on. But it's not obligatory. It's an add-on. Good. I think this has already been presented by Klaus before. So the costs of living are also very affordable in Soest. We are also not Munich or not Berlin. So that is really affordable. We have a long-term tradition in collaboration with US universities. So I just want to mention one exchange program which exists already since 2005 with the NYIT. So we have American students on campus every summer. We send our students to New York every summer. So there's a close collaboration. And there are some more transatlantic partnerships, but since I'm running out of time, I will keep that short. Okay, in terms of admission requirements, I think the most important things have been mentioned also by Klaus before. It's pretty much the same with us. We provided here a link and a QR code so you can check the DAD prerequisites or preconditions which need to be fulfilled. So with a higher education admission qualification you obtained in the US, you won't have to submit, of course, a language certificate. There's no internship or work placement required. So you can usually directly access the study course. And this slide briefly explains how to apply. And our application period is from March till mid-July every year. All right. So I think I made it in time, hopefully. Valerie, it's your turn with the IMIS.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dina. And also welcome from my side to all of you. My name is Valerie Wulfhorst. I'm course director for our master program, IMIS. We love those abbreviations. It's called International Management and Information Systems. You might ask yourself, what am I going to do after my bachelor degree? Maybe you're striving for higher levels in hierarchy in your company, or you want to have like a more than average wage. And here we would like to offer our master program, IMIS. It is a consecutive master. You can study, first of all, our own bachelor degree BBA, but you can also come from other universities when you have studied a bachelor program in business administration or related IT. It lasts 3 semesters. It also takes place in Soest, in the same city. And the regular start is in summer term, which starts usually in April, early April in Germany. I don't want to bore you with the same information. That's why I would just like to highlight one thing. We are also combining business and IT with each other. The focus is on general business. That means we do not provide a focus yet, so that you still have all opportunities later on. And the one thing that I would like to highlight, Dina, maybe you can already move on, is our second semester option. We have in the first semester a regular face-to-face teaching situation. So you come to Soest, you get to know each other. We usually say you come as foreigners and leave as friends from all over the world. And in your second semester, we are teaching completely online. And this gives you the opportunity to do an internship in parallel. That means you have only a few obligatory courses plus your option internship. If you say, I'm not interested in an internship, you could also study abroad in another university or choose our own electives that we are providing. For example, my colleague Dina is providing international economics, very interesting. But also this internship option is really valued by our students. More than 60% of our students are choosing this internship option. And I think this is a very great opportunity for you if you say, hey, I have started learning German in the US. Now I'm moving to Germany and I'm studying completely in English. And then you might say, hey, I want to improve my German skills. And this is a very great opportunity if you have improved your German, you have accommodated in Germany, and then you can do an internship in Germany. We have listed some companies or some brands over here. You might recognize some of them. We do not only focus on German companies, of course, but we have made the experience that many students from many international students are really interested in German companies. And even if they don't speak any German word, let's say, except of Guten Morgen and Tschüss, they really start with their English skills in the German companies. And then after a while, I'm meeting them and they contact me or they address me in German. And then I'm surprised, hey, you really speak perfect German now. They said, yeah, at first my working language was English, but then on the floor during lunchtime, I recognized, hey, I must learn more German. And then they start learning German, and after a while, they are really perfect in German. So this could be a very great opportunity for you to improve your German skills and to really apply what you have learned before. We have the requirement, you must have a bachelor degree, which you hopefully do in Soest in our BBA course. And you must have a minimum grade of 2.5. Your English skills, you don't need to approve anymore since you're German, since you're US citizens and native speakers. The application process is the same like for the BBA course. Non-EU students apply via UniAssist portal, which you can just access via this QR code. Yeah, and that's all, ladies and gentlemen. I hope to see you in Germany, in Soest, and would like to welcome you personally on our welcome meetings. We are open for your questions and suggestions and all of your unanswered questions now.
I had a quick question, Valerie. How many students do you see from the BA program that go into the master's program that you described?
Yeah, that's a good question. We have strongly increased the number of students in the BBA course, and that's why more and more bachelor students are coming to the master degree. But I would say not more than 50%. So we have between 40 and 50 students in the master course currently, and about 50% are from our own bachelor degree, and the other 50% from other courses. But we don't fix this number, so it is coming arbitrarily. So we really accept everyone who has the minimum requirement of 2.5 and who has an appropriate study course. Of course, if you have a bachelor degree in engineering, you cannot study our master degree.
Another question is, have you had American students before, or where do you find a lot of your international students coming from?
Yeah, as we said, from all over the world, basically. We had US Americans, but also from South America, from North America. But we cannot really say that, some nations have a majority. because we really have this great diversity which we really live or which we appreciate. You know, we have many Asians, we have many Africans, Europeans, and so you can say that all continents come together at in our study course. We also had Australians, by the way, so we can actually cover all continents.
A couple of questions from, now there's one in the chat. Do you find, now I lost it, a lot of students receive their master's, stay in Germany and work?
Not only, I can't confirm that for US students, but in general, I must actually say, yes, that's true. So many students, they come, as I said, as foreigners, they just say, yeah, I just want to study here in Germany and then I will go back. And then suddenly their attitude changes and they learn, they experience Germany, they turn to like it so much. And then suddenly they say, yeah, I'm going to stay. And it happens relatively often that at the end of their studies, students decide to learn German. And when I'm asking, hey, what are you going to do now? And then they say, yeah, first I want to learn German, get my driver's license in Germany, and then I will continue working. But you have such a great advantage since you already have studied German. And that's really a very great opportunity for you to apply your German skills here in Germany. And that's a big difference. So many students do stay in Germany, in fact. And to be honest, or to congratulate you, you're starting in a perfect point of time, since our labor market is empty. It is more than empty. All companies are looking for students for trainee program for trainee programs. They're really looking for employees.
We have two more quick questions, and then I might have to turn over to our next presenters. But and she sent it to us. What feedback do you have about how the German masters are recognized in companies in the US or other countries outside of Europe? And then another question was, if the bachelor's program finishes in the fall and the master's starts in the spring, is there a gap, and what do students do in between?
Well, actually, there is no gap at all, because they finish after their 7th semester, and then after winter term, and then directly in summer term they can continue. There is only the break, vacation time as a break, and this is often used for internships, which are not included in the study course, which can also be done, you know, on top. You know, the more you do, the more assets you have in your CV. What was the first question again?
How the master's program could be is recognized outside of Europe or in the US?
Yeah, so it's really, so the German education system is still well known for its high quality, and it is actually accepted all over the world. So it's recognized and really valued very much all over the world.
Well, thank you so much, Valerie and Dina. We really appreciate it. Those are some very interesting programs, and it's nice to hear more about SOAST. So thank you.
Thanks for inviting us, and best greetings to everyone.
Thank you.
So now I'd like to turn it to the capital city, to Berlin. I'd like to welcome Dr. Christina Röder from the Free University in Berlin. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good morning. Now, we've already all heard so much about Berlin and how expensive living here is. We have a couple of advantages that I would like to present. I can definitely understand why you're using that as an advantage. It is. I confirm that. But we take care of our housing in different ways, so yeah, stay tuned. Thank you for inviting me. I am representing the 3 programs mentioned here. So I have the I'm facing the challenge of introducing 3 or even maybe 4 programs in 20 minutes, which means I can only be slightly vague with details. But my aim here is to spark your interest and your curiosity and direct you to our website so you can, dive into more information at a later point. I'm actually the academic director of the FU-BEST program, and I'm also the program director of the FU-B Continued program. And I used to run the FU-BEST program a couple of years ago. So I'm hopefully qualified to talk about all of them. I resisted from introducing Berlin in more detail because I simply hope that you have at least an image or some knowledge about Berlin as a capital. I could talk 20 minutes about Berlin already on its own, so I'm trying to skip that, but I'll come back to the great resource of Berlin later. I wanted to start with 2 quotes by alumni of our 2 study programs, that is FU-BIS and FU-BEST, to give you an impression of what students take away from us. So on top there's Gabrielle, who was with us at FU-BEST. And she said, I fully intend on returning to Berlin in the future and possibly taking advantage of my time at FU-BEST to enroll in the graduate program at Freie Universität. While Juan down there, who attended FU-BIS, talks about the course that he took and says, you have the opportunity to discuss with people from different cultures, and you go out on excursions and get to know the city. It has been a very enriching experience. And I just chose these because I think they are rather representative of the different, let's say, study motivations that we have, and on the perspectives that students take away from these 2 study programs. We see ourselves as partners in the lifelong learning process. I'm focusing here on our international short-term programs. I'm not talking about BAs or MAs, but really look at the breadth that we have in these international offerings. And I will be focusing on the study abroad programs in my presentations. There are many similarities between them, but they also have some distinct features that separate them. What they all have in common, and I think that's the bottom line of all these programs presented here today, is that they do not require any knowledge of German at all. So I'll start with the FU-BIS program. As you can see, it's our senior program, if you wish. It is established, it's experienced, it's unique in Germany as an international summer and winter university in its size and also in its quality. You can see here that they have 3 terms in summer and winter, which are focused on the semester breaks in different parts of the world. So the winter term works with a J-term or a J-term break in the US. The first summer term, the 6-week term in early summer, is also geared to American semester breaks, North American semester breaks. And the term 3 in summer is the most international one, where we in normal years have around 350 students from all over the world, because that is when most people have their semester breaks. It's very international, it's very intensive. These are short-term programs. You can see here that we have students from around 50 countries, in more than 50 courses every year. And we also award ECTS credits, so it's a highly academic program, and that's what I think distinguishes us from many other programs all over the world as well. And this gives you a very good glimpse of what studying at Freie Universität or studying in Germany, in Berlin, is all about in a rather short time. I'm going to come to the structure and the subjects in a short while. FU-BEST is the Freie Universität Berlin European Studies program. It's a semester program that is also very experienced and also very unique in its size and also in the quantity and the variety of its courses. We run in American style semesters, so one's the fall semester, one's the spring semester. They are all each about 4 months long. And you can see usually how many students we have in normal years, between 150 and 180. We're actually running right now with a post or parallel to Corona smaller group, but we already have more than 100 students coming in spring. Just had our application deadline. The Americanness of our origin, that's how we were historically created, as an alternative for students who did not have the German knowledge or the knowledge of German language, but still wanted to come to Germany for a whole semester, and that was how we were created. And it used to start with American partners, and that results in a very seamless transfer of people, going back and forth, time-wise, but also of the credits that we award, also ECTS credits. And we work with a lot of partner universities that have been knowing us for a long time. So having your credits accepted and continuing with the studies back home is something that's made very easy in this program. Our latest edition is FOB Continue Ed. It's a continuing education program. As you can see, we just started this year because we realized, but we sort of said we have to do something about this. Learning doesn't stop with graduation. Actually, I think it's quite the contrary. For the job market, your learning starts actually when you're done with school and when you enter the job market. But also, in these times, there's so much happening and so many changes and important pressing issues happening at the same time that also experienced professionals need to further their knowledge and their skills and their competences. It's really a lifelong learning process. So we created this program with certificate courses running in 3 terms each year. Spring, summer, and fall. They are at the moment running online. We also will add on-site workshops and courses next year. But what our mission is to tackle the important issues of today and tomorrow for all kinds of jobs and all phases of the career and learning process. We have a very strong focus on hands-on learning. So it's really open to everyone, and you get a certificate that will boost not only your CV, but also I think your personal development afterwards. I will focus in my next sort of slides on FOBS and FUBIS, but please feel free to visit the Continue Ed website as well, because I think we have more students here that are at a different phase in their career. So what do we teach at FUBIS and FUBEST? Here some subject course disciplines that you can see, and you will find that these are basically the humanities, the social sciences, with added courses in business and other subjects. That's what Freie Universität is good at. That's our main focus. So you will not find information technology, you will not find sort of more industrial related courses here. That's what Freie Universität does. Students take at FUBIS it's more like a Lego building system. You pick and mix either German language courses or subject courses. They run on a very intensive daily schedule, so you can pick and choose what suits your personal development and your majors and minors best. At FUBEST, you have mandatory German, nothing to be afraid of. It's a great thing if you're here for 4 months to really, at least start learning the language. Again, for both programs, no language requirements. You can start as beginner, absolute beginner in our courses. And at FUBEST, language in the morning, 4 days a week. It's very intensive, but very has a steep progression. And subject courses in the afternoon. So students typically take anything between 2 and 4 subject courses in a FUBEST semester. It's a great variety. You can find all of the syllabi for each course on the websites of the respective programs with learning outcomes, with instructor CVs. So really have a look at that so you can see what we are doing. We do focus on small class sizes, 15 students in the German language courses and 18 or 20 in the subject courses to enable a lively discussion and intensive group work there. All of our courses focus on Europe, Germany, and or Berlin. And also for the subjects mentioned here, there are very few prerequisites. Basically, these are all introductory overview courses, but also experienced students in these majors can find their focus there. So they are, you know, upper degree undergraduate level, I would say. And what is a very important part of all of our courses is that we use Berlin as a resource. Berlin is not only a great student city, it's very affordable, maybe with the exception of housing, but there still you can find affordable housing if you come and stay for a longer time. Short term is always something different. It has great cultural opportunities. It's a political hub. Here's where, you know, where politics and also economic decisions are made. Think tanks are here, startups are here. It's a great city. It's very, very young, and it's always in flux. So we also use this resource in our classes. So that means that we will learn about something in the classroom, then go out and talk to people, visit institutions, look at the sites that we're actually talking about. And of course, that's the great advantage of being in Berlin. You have this full, you know, this living classroom just on your doorstep. You see some examples of what we do with our students, where we take them. It's, I think, one of the best parts of these programs. I also would like to lose a few brief words on the fees and services. We are fee-based because we are special programs running outside of the general bachelor's curriculum of Freie Universität. So that might be a difference to my previous speakers. These are really very, very different for the two programs, and depending on what you choose. So please, I would like to invite you to have a look at the websites and have a look there. What's included there are a lot of services. I'm just briefly going to mention some of them, but that is something that, you know, typical students at German universities do not receive. So, you know, as a cultural program, there's a huge advisory system that we have. And also we offer volunteering, we offer language tandem. So we're really trying to take care of our students. What we offer are housing options specifically geared to these programs. Just to mention a couple of options, again, depending on the program duration, that varies. We have studio apartments, we have shared student housing, so what was already astutely called Studentenwohnheim. We have homestays with very nice and experienced families. But we also allow for independent accommodation, of course, if you have family or friends in Germany. Our cultural programs are superb. We have inner city trips, we have day trips, we have, of course, a huge orientation program for our students. At FU Best, we have included a week-long excursion in Germany and neighboring countries every semester. So that is one of the highlights of that program. It's really, really intensive and interesting also to get to know more about Europe, Germany, and Berlin. So do visit the websites and look at some examples there. We also know that visa and stuff is very important to our American students. The great thing is that there are no visa requirements for your citizens for FUBIS, and at FUBES we take care of that on site. So you just need to be able to enter the country, which is, you know, doable at the moment. So again, that's one of the services that we offer, and we also cover your health insurance. It's an optional package at FUBIS. It's included or mandatory at FU Best. I also wanted to briefly add an add-on to all of you who might be more interested in a sort of working experience and not, or working abroad experience, or want to combine that. At FU Best, we also have an internship program that is running after the spring semester. That means in June and July for 8 weeks. It's a full-time internship, but you can also choose that as a standalone option. You don't have to come to FU Best before that, but it's often a great extension of the stay because you get, you know Berlin already and then just stay on. We have a large variety of working fields, so basically everything that I can think of and that you can find in Berlin. And the special thing about this is that there's a sort of coaching intercultural colloquium included, which means that all interns meet once a week and then discuss what they've experienced in the workplace, try to find explanations for, why are people communicating so strangely, or what's it about hierarchies, or what's it about, gender relationships in the workplace, but also identify their own strengths, the challenges, and really take something from this experience that will help them focus more on what they actually want to do later on. It's a superb addition to any CV. Employers are really looking for, work experience abroad. These internships are unpaid, mostly for legal reasons, but you can take away 12 ECTS credits from that. I love it. It's one of my favorite programs in the whole university. Where can you find more information about us? Because I know I've been rushing through this. Of course, as I said, I said it 10 times, but now our websites, which I'm going to show you again in a second, with extensive information on all of our program aspects. If you go to YouTube, you will also find informational videos on the programs in general, on specific courses, on specific program components, on the internship program, and whatever you want to look at. We also did a public digital lecture series this year and last year, where we recorded some of our instructors, so you can get a deep introduction into what are these people like, how do they teach, what are the subjects that they're talking about. It's really nice to look at and has a great variety of all of the subjects that we offer. And we also have a series called Berlin Talks, where we discuss contemporary issues with experts. So that's also, we say, okay, all of the knowledge that we sort of spread, it also has relevance in society in a larger way. And also, if you follow our social media channels, that's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn, you will also be always be up to date on what the programs do, on scholarship opportunities, you name it, application deadlines, we put that there. So please don't be a stranger. I put my dear colleague Sophia Schmieder's name here as the current program director of FUBIS, and very arrogantly my name for the other two programs. They're the websites again. You can look at them. You can also contact us through there. And I hope I have some time left for any questions that have come up right now. Thank you for your attention.
Great, thank you so much, Christina. I think we do have time for a question or two before we turn it over to our last speaker. So I'll give everyone a minute to type a question in the chat. I personally am very partial to Berlin, having studied at Free University for a semester. So
very good. I've numbed everyone. Great.
No, that's okay. Yeah, there's a lot of information.
I know.
It's like a big menu of programs. So that's excellent that people can also go to Germany for a shorter time and at different parts of their career. So
that's it, and it's also especially FUBIS was designed as a chance to sort of dip your toe into the water and see what's it look like without committing for a whole semester, because usually the semester times between the US and Germany are not really compatible, but the semester breaks do work quite nicely. And so we have a lot of students, my predecessor just said, that actually find out, this is something I want to do and I want to come back and want to stay on, that we experience in both programs actually. And Germany is not such a hard language, as probably many of you will already have noticed. It's easy to learn.
We have one question popped in. Do your classes transfer to US colleges for credits?
That really depends on the partners that we have. Some partners have integrated our course into their own curriculum with the American credits. Usually it's quite neat, because our courses are structured in I would say, quote unquote, in an American way. So, the assignments are familiar to many advisors back home. The contact hours are the same. We also work intensively on having these credits transferred with our partners, so explain a lot. And usually I don't have any problems with American universities and colleges accepting them.
there currently a list of US schools you work with, or is there a list of schools you work with currently?
Yes, there is. If you go to, I know on the FU.Best website, you will see it's called, I think, partner institutions, and you see a long listing of every university that has already sent at least one student to us. It's a long list, but we're also very happy to talk to your university if you want us to. Very often they just send one student saying, let's see how it goes, and then enter into a partnership afterwards. We can also do MOUs, so we don't need sort of a fixed partnership before we actually accept students. But yes, there's a list you can look at.
Great. All right. In the interest of time, I am going to turn it to our last presenter. So thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
We'll have some more time for questions at the very end of our session today. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Joost Kleuters. He's coming to us from Hochschule Rhein-Waal. So thank you so much, and thank you for being our last speaker today and waiting so patiently.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me. My name is Joost Kleuters. I'm the director of the International Center at Rhein-Waal University of Applied Sciences. Since we're already on the way for a good hour or so, we already got a lot of information from the other speakers. I'll just try to keep it brief and give you a general overview of my university, and then give you the opportunity to ask some questions. Rhein-Waal University at a glance. Where we are in Germany, we are all the way west. As you can see, hopefully here, we have two campuses, one in Kleve, one in Camp Lindfort. We are only about 10-15 miles away from the border to the Netherlands. So if you look a little bit south, you have Düsseldorf, then Camp Lindfort, Kleve, and then into the Netherlands. So we're very much a EU border region. And because of the EU and Schengen, of course, all transportation is free. There are no border checks. So that gives a little bit of an international dimension to our institution as well. This is our Kleve campus. It's relatively small. It's an old historical town, a little bit like Soest maybe. We have roughly 4,000 students here, 1,500 students in Camp Lindfort. You can see a small castle there that used to be the center of the historic town. The water is moving to the Rhine River. That's a canal that goes to the Rhine River. The Rhine, as you may know, the largest river that flows through Germany. And it goes into the Netherlands, to the Dutch coast, into the North Sea. And when it does, when it crosses the border, it's called the Waal. So hence the name Rhein-Waal University of Applied Sciences. This is just an impression of our campus in Camp Lindfort. This is one of our 4 departments that I'll introduce later on. Also a small town, roughly 2,000 students are studying here. So who we are, we were established 2009 as a public university of applied sciences in Germany. Like I said, 2 campuses. Kleve is the main campus, and then the other one is in Camp Lindfort. And what really makes us different from other universities in Germany and the rest of Europe as well, is that as a public university, we have 80–85% of all our programs, bachelor programs and master's degree programs, completely in English. So our student body is also very international. Basically, half of our students is international, and the other half is coming from Germany. 25 bachelor degree programs, 11 master's degree programs, and we have 4 interdisciplinary faculties that I'll introduce to you later. So like I said, our students come from all over the world. Here you have an overview of where most of them are from. I think at the moment we have roughly 50 US students. Half of them are degree-seeking students who come to us to finish their degree. The other half come from our partner institutions in the US where we exchange students with. And we also have a good number of students who study with a grant from the Department of Veterans Affairs, those who come from the armed forces or whose parents come from the armed forces. If you would be eligible, we are listed at the Department of Veterans Affairs as an international school where you can spend that grant. Professors and staff, so we have a lot of international staff as well. 107 professors, 140 academic staff, and 217 non-academic staff. We have a very global network of partner institutions that we manage at the International Center. As you can see, we have a couple of them in the US as well, but also within the rest of Europe and Asia. If you're studying with us, of course, you have the opportunity to spend a semester abroad as well. You can either stay in Germany or make use of this partner network, or even go back to the US for one semester. Academics, the different departments that we have. First of all, this is a bit of a breakdown of what our bachelor studies look like. My colleagues have introduced this as well before. So maybe for your information, the 6th semester is an international semester. You can spend it abroad, or if you're an international student, what most of them do is stay in Germany and do an internship here. And then the 7th semester is a thesis, and then you finish your bachelor degree. And the master's degree is usually 3 semesters, as is with the other universities. So a closer look at our faculties. We have a faculty of technology and bionics, and they offer a lot of engineering programs completely in English, and is one of the few institutions in Germany to do so and have everything completely in English. So all the major engineering programs you will find here: electrical engineering, industrial engineering, mechanical engineering, biomaterial science, and we have 2 master's degree programs as well, bionics and mechanical engineering. We are a relatively new institution, so we have a lot of state-of-the-art laboratories and workshops, just to give you an impression here of what those workshops look like, and our students have an opportunity to work with. Faculty of Life Sciences is the 2nd department that we have in Kleve. Here you'll find programs like agribusiness in English, bioengineering, or sustainable agriculture on the bachelor's level. And there is a master's degree program in biological resources. Here to give you an overview of their laboratories and the facilities there that professors and students can work with. They also have a greenhouse, which is on our campus in Kleve, and adds a nice touch to our campus there. It's open to the public as well, and then of course also used by professors and students alike. Then the 3rd department in Kleve is the Faculty of Society and Economics, and here you find bachelor degree programs such as Gender and Diversity, International Business and Management, International Relations, International Taxation and Law, and 2 master's degree programs in the field of Sustainable Development Management and Economics and Finance. Then the Faculty of Communication and Environment is the one in Camp Lindfort, the one that has its own campus, so to speak. This is very interdisciplinary, if not an eclectic selection of programs. They have a Bachelor in English, Communication and Information Engineering, Environment and Energy, which is more or less a sustainable energy program, Information and Communication Design, and Mobility and Logistics. And they have different master's degree programs in Digital Media, Information Engineering, Computer Science, International Management and Psychology, and Usability Engineering. They also have a Fab Lab. You may be familiar with this international network. It was founded by MIT. An open lab where students and professors can work, but which is also open to the public. As an applied sciences university, we do a lot of community outreach, and the fabrication lab, as it's called, that they have is also used by schools, for example, in Camp Lindfort. Institutions and supports. We have a welcome center. We support our international students through a buddy system, peer advising from other international students. We'll support you with the paperwork for your visa, or organize students events like the Festival Week. We have a mentoring program, Locals for Students, and also support in finding suitable housing, in addition to the dorms that we also have on campus. This gives you an impression of the library that we have, the International Center. Like I said, we manage our international network of partner universities, but we also organize the language courses here. The same as with the other institutions you heard today, we have German language courses, which are part of the bachelor program, but also extracurricular courses that are being offered for free on different levels. So depending on what your German language skills are when you leave the US, you can follow up with us and at no cost. We don't have large sport facilities, but we still are able to offer a lot of sports courses. We do so with local sports clubs. We have university music. This is a picture of the university band that we have, but it's also a choir. We have rehearsal space for bands, courses, workshops, and concerts. So if you want to do sports and music, we have all those facilities as well. We are part of several EU-sponsored programs that want to support the interest of people in the STEM fields of study. So we organize courses for kids and see if we can get them enthusiastic about STEM courses. The Kids University is one of those. Like I said, we are always very close to the local community and do a lot of community outreach. We have courses for the general public, called Studium Generale. People can attend for free. Sometimes there are lectures organized by individual departments, or the general audience can also just come to class. They pay €100 per semester and can then be part as guest auditors. So in a nutshell, we have 80% degree programs taught in English, a very international and diverse campus community. Both campuses are in a small town, but have a very vibrant feel and easy access into the Netherlands and the rest of Europe. You already heard from my colleagues about the semester fees and then the free ticket for public transportation that comes along with it. So in Kleve, you can actually take a bus and drive into the next town, into the Netherlands. So we have this sort of Dutch-German border region feel to it as well. So that's it. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions or if you want to learn more about the programs in more detail, I would suggest first you just have a look at the website. It's completely bilingual. And if you have any questions, just feel free to contact us. So thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Yeah, any questions? We'd be happy to take those through the chat. I think we've all been on our computers for a while, but great. Well, maybe I think we have a few minutes. Oh, here we go. Here's a question. Excellent. Where are the Bachelors of Sustainable Agriculture and Tourism located?
They are both on the campus in Kleve. So Sustainable Agriculture was at the Life Sciences Department. Tourism is also in Kleve at the Department of, let me check. Society and Economics. Exactly.
Thank you. So I think maybe if our other speakers are still with us, we can use the last 5 minutes or so for a general Q&A. If anyone has questions for any of our presenters today, that's Christina from Berlin, Valerie and Dina from Soest, Klaus from Halle, and also I think that's everyone actually. So there you go. Yeah, what questions do we have on study in Germany? We'll just give you all a few minutes to think about it. But I know that we are all so grateful and so excited to be able to have 5 great speakers from Germany on the line. It's not often that we have this opportunity, so I just like to take a minute and thank you all for being with us today. These look like excellent programs, and things certainly have changed since I was a student many years ago, but we have someone saying thank you. Oh, here we go. Is there a GPA requirement? Or, okay, now the questions are coming in. Give me 1 second. Is there a GPA requirement or class prerequisites to study in Germany? And another question, I'm a US citizen with an MBA already. Are there any chances to validate subjects from an MBA into a master's program there?
Well, I'll be happy to take the first one if you want to.
Yeah, please.
Sure. Just for the first one, well, it depends. For masters, typically there's a GPA requirement. So if you're planning to study a master's program in Germany, you're usually required to bring something around 2.5 is, I think, what we heard earlier from other universities, and it's the same at our university. For the bachelor's, not really. There's not GPA requirement per se, and the prerequisites to study in Germany, well, it just goes back to what we had earlier about the this entrance qualification. So your high school diploma or your high school degree needs to meet some requirements. You need to have a certain amount of math classes and some natural sciences, and there's a whole list. You can mix and mingle them, and there are different combinations that are possible. So that's there in terms of requirements, but it's not, you know, not one specific class that you must have taken.
And say for FU-BIS, there's no GPA requirement. For FU-BEST, it's a 3.0 GPA. None for the continued program.
Yeah, for our SOS programs, for the bachelor, we don't have a GPA requirement. But for the master, we have 2.5 according to the German system. And no prerequisites to study in Germany. And second question is if you can transfer credits from an MBA. Yes, you can, but it depends on the subject. So you must provide your certificate and your course contents, and then we can check if we can transfer your credits to certain subjects.
Other questions? One of our participants is looking forward to studying in Germany, so just chatted that in German. Excellent, you're ready to go. Good. Okay. Do any of the programs have international middle-aged students for those of us dreaming of studying again in Germany?
Maybe I can answer this one. We have a couple that came from the US a couple of years ago, whose daughter went to elsewhere in Europe to study. I think it was Spain. And then both of them went to study international relations with us in Kleve. The father was a restaurant chef, so it was easy for him to get a job and pay for their studies. And she actually played a very active role in our student representative organization. So that's just an example that immediately comes to mind if you're asking this question.
Yeah, I just asked myself, where does middle age start? When I was starting in SOS, I was 31, and there were several students who were elder than me. We also have many students who already have kids, or who care for their elder parents, grandparents, and so on. So we also have programs for that, so that we can say, okay, you don't have to study the full-time ECTS. You can also minimize, or we also have flexible solutions for that situation.
Same in Berlin, I would say. Both FU-BIS and FU-BEST have the occasional, let's say, returning student, and of course the continuing program is just geared exactly towards that age group, but also of course younger and older people than that. But stay tuned when we have our online or on-site courses next year.
All right. Any other questions for our speakers today? I did want to flag for our audience that we did a session 2 weeks ago with one of my colleagues, Carolina Blank, who discussed pathways for study in Germany, which goes through testing requirements, Studienkolleg, and other ways to prepare for a general studies in Germany. And I linked that in the chat. And here is one more question. Oh, thank you for sharing the link. Now I lost. Here's a question auf Deutsch. Okay, ist die Zulassung zum Hochschulsystem von Bundesland zu Bundesland verschieden? I'll let someone translate that and answer it.
Well, essentially, the question is if there are different admission requirements, or the admission requirements are different between the different states in Germany. No, that's one of the very few things that is actually centralized. So there's a central set of criteria that we all have to follow. So if you're admitted in one state, you will be admitted in the other state as well. But there is a difference between, maybe that's something I should point out, between the admission requirements of universities of applied sciences and of universities. So they cannot accept the same types of applicants. They have different sets of requirements, but that's for these institutions, it's the same Germany-wide.
Excellent. That's a very that's an important point. Thank you so much. A question, please explain the difference between Hochschule and university. Klaus, you're on again, I guess.
Okay, that's well, that's a difficult one. Well, essentially, there are two types of higher education institutions in Germany at this level. One is the universities, which is typically aiming at a more academic career, or at least that's how it's been perceived traditionally. That's the reputation that they have. Whereas the universities of applied sciences are more focused on more of a practical focus in terms of their education. But it really, in the end, what you should do is you should look at the specific programs. It makes a lot more sense, and see if your program yields what you're looking for. Yeah. So I'm facing 3 universities of applied sciences here, so I have to be careful what I'm saying. Maybe someone else wants to chip in.
Maybe I can add something to that if you'd like. One could also say that the universities are more theory driven. So the research that they do and also that teaching is geared more towards developing theory, whereas the Fachhochschulen, the universities of applied sciences, look more to how scientific knowledge and research may be applied in practice. Of course, universities do this as well. It's more something of a different focus. Maybe that gives sort of a summary. So they're both academics. They're both higher education institutions. They just have a different focus. So another example, the professors at our university, they do research as well, but their goal is not theory development. It's really to look at which academic knowledge do we have, and how can we use it to put into practice, and what can we learn from that, sort of as a feedback loop to the academic information or theory already at hand. And of course, that also has a different, like Klaus said, that makes teaching also a little bit different. So if you study at a university, maybe your focus is more on developing a theory, on the theoretical aspects. If you study at an applied science university, it's more practice oriented. Like I said, it's a matter of focus more than it's really completely different style institutions. It's both higher education. And
so we all give it our own spin.
Okay, great. Well, thank you guys for tackling that question. So it is 10:34 here, and so we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. If there's another burning question, oh, here's one. How am I able to access the recording on the slideshows? So I will be sending out an email to our participants on Monday with a link to the recording and hopefully also the presentation slides, but we'll make sure to share those. So thank you. Okay, well, thank you so much to our speakers. We really appreciate the time that you took today and sharing all this excellent information. I feel like this is, all these programs are really, we would really like to help share knowledge about these programs, particularly, here in the United States. So we look forward to continuing to work with you all and getting lots of American students on your beautiful campuses and taking advantage of these programs. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Have a great weekend. Yeah.
Thank you too.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice afternoon. Bye-bye.